Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're zeroing right in on Lesson 20 from our Essential Words text. We're not just going to rattle off a simple list of 12 vocabulary words here. We are going to completely transform them into a powerful toolkit for your daily communication. If you're looking to communicate with real precision and impact, the structure of Lesson 20 is exactly what you need. Let's dive right in.
We're kicking things off with this absolutely profound thought from Rudyard Kipling. This immediately sets the stakes for us, right? Mastering vocabulary isn't just some dry academic exercise so you can pass a test. It's fundamentally about wielding influence. Words literally shape how we think, how others perceive us, and how we navigate the world around us.
And you know, what's really fascinating about Lesson 20 is exactly how it frames these words. We're drawing our insights directly from the text, extracting the exact definitions, those precise sentence examples, and even the hidden histories behind the vocabulary. Every single word is framed with multiple contexts, ensuring it truly sticks in your mind.
All right, let's look at Group 1, strategy, conflict, and captivity.
To make these words truly memorable, we're grouping them into a mini-narrative. Looking at this first set of 6 words, notice how they naturally build a story of battle, deception, and resistance. By linking these words thematically, rather than just memorizing them A to Z, our brains can categorize and retrieve them so much faster. Let's pull out a few key players from this lineup to build our story of conflict.
The crucial starting point is understanding the nuance of our first word, crafty. It means being skillful in deceiving others, being sly or tricky. Just imagine a crafty mind preparing a really comprehensive plan to defraud his partners. A crafty person doesn't rely on brutal physical strength. Instead, they dig into a crafty bag of tricks to win. It is all about intellectual deception.
So let's see how this builds. That crafty enemy we just talked about? Well, they might plan an ingenious ambush. An ambush is a trap where soldiers or other enemies hide to make a surprise attack. It's a very vivid concept, right? It brings to mind troops lying in ambush in the dense woods all through the night, just waiting for the absolute perfect moment to strike.
And what happens when that ambush actually works? The result could be taking a captive, meaning a prisoner. There are 2 fantastic ways the text uses this word. First, the literal sense, like a soldier who is incredibly grateful to be released after being held captive for 2 years. But I really love the metaphorical use they point out, how the legendary Placido Domingo can hold an entire audience captive with his marvelous singing voice.
Yet even a captive might remain defiant. This means openly resisting or challenging authority. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates human nature. Take the text example of a defiant young woman who tells her father she absolutely refuses to be manipulated. Whether it's a prisoner of war or a professor who is defiant of any attempt to disprove his theory, the word perfectly captures that unyielding, stubborn spirit.
Moving right along to Group 2, survival, energy, and time.
This next conceptual family of words helps us precisely articulate the delicate balance of endurance and vulnerability. Just like before, seeing them as a connected group makes them so much easier to lock into your memory. Let's highlight a few of the essential words from this second group to see how they interact with each other.
We'll kick this group off with fragile, representing things that are easily broken, damaged, or destroyed. Now, we usually think of expensive glassware as being very fragile. But it's not just glass. Things made out of plywood also have a tendency to be fragile. It's a word that perfectly communicates a state of physical or even emotional delicacy.
Now, if something fragile is left totally unprotected, it may perish, meaning to be destroyed or to die. A plant will perish if it doesn't get water for its roots to absorb. Or, looking back at history, General Custer and all his men perished at the Little Bighorn. It is a very definitive, final word. On the flip side, some things refuse to perish quickly, and instead they linger. This means to stay on or go slowly as if they're unwilling to leave. What's really interesting here is the wide variety of things that can linger. A strong odor might not vanish, but instead linger on for weeks. Similarly, societal traditions can linger on long after they've actually lost their original meanings.
To completely avoid perishing, one needs vigor, which is defined as active strength or force. The examples from Lesson 20 show just how versatile this word is. If you have a great deal of vigor, you're able to excel in all sports. But it's mental, too. You can put all your vigor into an argument to persuade someone. It's that undeniable spark of intense energy.
Okay, time for the recall challenge.
Let's see how well these definitions are sticking with a quick interactive challenge adapted straight from the Lesson 20 exercises. Active recall is the absolute best way to ensure these stay with you. First, let's look at antonyms, words with opposite meanings. Think about the exact opposite of our delicate word fragile. Take a second. In the exercises, the text contrasts fragile beautifully with a word that means strong and solid. Sturdy.
Let's try one more. What is the opposite of that openly resisting, defiant attitude we discussed a minute ago? Got a guess? Well, if you aren't openly resisting, you are being willing to obey. Linking a vocabulary word directly to its exact opposite is a highly effective way to map out its precise boundaries in your brain.
Now try this fill-in-the-blank challenge pulled right from the lesson. The sentence is, the bank teller's blank plan to steal $1 million didn't succeed. Which of our strategy words perfectly describes a sly, tricky plan focused on deception rather than brute force?
If crafty came to mind, you nailed it. It perfectly captures the deceitful, scheming nature of someone trying to pull off an inside job at a bank.
To wrap up this explainer, let's hit our spotlight, the origins of ambush.
This is honestly my favorite part of Lesson 20 because it bridges the gap between language and history. The text features a spotlight section that asks a highly practical question for a historical warrior. What kind of hiding place would best protect a person waiting to attack an enemy?
Well, the clue is hidden right inside the word itself. The bushes or woods provided the greatest safety and camouflage. The word bushes is a bit better hidden in the older word ambuscade, but the meaning is exactly the same. By learning this historical origin, you've essentially just gained 2 words in one stroke.
By mastering these thematic groups and understanding their historical roots, you've equipped yourself with some incredibly powerful new linguistic tools. So, applying one last word from Lesson 20, how will you prosper by applying this vocabulary today? I really encourage you to take just one of these 12 words and use it in a conversation or an email this very afternoon. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep building that essential vocabulary.